based on a true story. I don't even know where it all began. Maybe not with him. Maybe it started much earlier. When I was 10, and my father simply disappeared from my life. From that moment on, it was like I made a silent agreement with life. You're on your own. And I managed. For years. I carried everything, solved everything, endured everything. Then my husband came into my life. And honestly, I thought things would finally get easier. But they just became a different kind of hard. 7 years. 7 years next to someone who is technically there, and at the same time, not really there at all. No real intimacy, no emotional closeness, no feeling that you truly matter to someone, not as a function, not as a responsibility, but as a person. And I got used to it. I got used to being strong, to not expecting too much, to not wanting too much. And then he appeared, and everything shifted. No warning, no permission. He just walked into my life and turned it upside down. At first, it was just work, conversations, glances, small moments that weren't supposed to mean anything. But they did. He looked at me like he actually saw me, not an image, not a role, but me. And that was terrifying, because I had already forgotten what it feels like to be seen. He didn't say much, but there was something about him, something calm and strong, a core, a quiet kind of strength, the kind of presence I had never really had beside me before. He would help, guide, stand there in a way that made everything feel steadier. And I caught myself thinking that around him, I didn't want to be strong anymore. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but at some point I realized I had fallen for him. Not suddenly, not dramatically, quietly, like the feeling had just grown inside me while I was busy pretending it wasn't there. Sometimes it would fade. I'd come back to reality, tell myself, this doesn't mean anything. It will pass. But then, all it took was a little alcohol, and I would text him. Things I shouldn't say, feelings I shouldn't feel. It was like I lost control. Like everything I held back during the day collapsed at night. I wrote, and he stayed silent. Always. And that silence, it wasn't cold. It wasn't cruel. It was right. And somehow, that made it hurt even more. Because his silence said everything, the boundaries, the understanding, the impossibility. And maybe that silence was the only thing that kept us from crossing the line. But I kept walking toward it anyway, step by step, message by message, until one day, his wife texted me. I remember that moment in detail, like time just froze, my phone in my hand, my heart in my throat, and one thought, that's it. Something inside me broke, not because I got caught, not because I was afraid, but because everything that had lived inside me suddenly became real. And I saw it from the outside, a real breakdown, the kind you can't control. I wasn't crying because of him, or even because of what happened. I was crying because of myself, because I let myself become weak, because I allowed myself to feel. For a whole week, it felt like I was living inside my own trial. I blamed myself. I felt ashamed. I was angry. Every second, replaying everything, like I could somehow undo it. I thought about leaving, changing jobs, disappearing, not seeing him anymore. I was even offered an option. But life is not a movie. There's money. There are responsibilities. There's reality. And it doesn't care how you feel. So I stayed. I made the decision to stay until the end of the year. And honestly, I don't know how I'm going to get through it. Because the hardest part is not losing someone. The hardest part is seeing the person you're supposed to forget every single day. Not looking, not waiting, not hoping, just existing. But inside, something still reaches for him, and that's when everything goes quiet, empty. People around me say I've changed, that I've become like a shadow, and I feel it too. Sometimes I look at myself from the outside and I don't recognize who I am anymore. It's like there's less life in me now, like a part of me got left behind somewhere, between the words I never got to say and his silence. And maybe the scariest part of this whole story is not that nothing ever happened. It's that too much happened inside me, and no one will ever see it.